see. All right. So, as has been mentioned, this is a SITREP, which
one sec.
I completely forgot what SITREP actually stands for because I don't use it in normal language.
Situation report.
Oh, I thought it was every letter. That's why I couldn't forget. That's why I couldn't.
No, not an acronym.
This is.
It's not an acronym. What's
okay.
it called when
anyway.
you? Yeah. Do that.
Not contraction, but I don't know. I don't remember. My brain hurts. My brain hurts today. I've been dealing with a headache all afternoon. Anyway, so basically this is an update on a topic we previously covered. So in the show notes, we have linked the previous topic when we talked about hacking much deeper. This is going to kind of be just like give you updates on information that has come out since that last video. So we have the deep dives, and then we have our SITREPs to keep you guys updated for it. So as far as the deliverable goes, it is mostly being done, I believe, by current. Yeah, most of what the work is being done right now is downstream teams, and those are only scheduled per quarter. However, the tasks that are on the deliverable only go out to early June, which normally when a task is going to be elongated, they will have the tasks or the sprints or the bars, whatever you want to call them, go out to the edge of that quarter. So, this does not mean that it's going to come out in 320 or whatever patch is next when these things show up, but it does give us a good indication of what may be planning. Like, it's always a maybe. It's never a yes or a no. So, it's getting close. But let's go through some of the stuff that has actually been being done and some of the stuff that's been said in the monthly reports. So in the last roadmap update, again, my brain's being slow. The date was extended from 7/26/2022 to 10/26/2022. And how does it say? Does it say?
So what I did is I pulled all the mentions from the the progress tracker, from the Delta reports, as well as in the monthly reports for hacking.
I see how you got that.
Since you went over it in June, right?
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So
and everything's in sequence.
Okay. Cool. See, I didn't write these. That's why I'm so confused on where everything is. It's fine. He laid it up very, very brilliantly. So in the Delta of 07/06/2022, we had 2 narrative people on it with 7 tasks and a weapon feature engineer with 30 tasks. In the monthly report of August 2022, the narrative team had this to say. It said the team also assisted in writing text to support several in-development game features like hacking, salvaging, as well as writing names and descriptions of dozens of props, weapons, vehicle, armor, and clothing. Basically, it was a giant write stuff for game month for them. Since then, there are several holidays and events that come to the final stretch of 2022, and blah, blah, blah. They've been doing lots of work. So basically, the thing to take away from there is Narrative was supporting text needs for their hacking feature. In the Delta report for 10/26, in 10/26, they no longer had narrative and weapon feature. Those were completed. They now have Squadron 42 art. They had 1 art dev with 4 tasks. Then further along in 2023 to 02/22, Squadron 42 UI, so Squadron 42 art was then complete. Squadron 42 UI feature team had 1 art dev and 1 design dev. The design dev had 3 tasks, and the art dev had 1 task. Moving us into another month report, this time on the Squadron 42 side, because we know that Squadron 42 UI is the people who are working on it as of the last month, or as of the last Roadmap Roundup. There we go, Delta report that we just read. It says the UI team made an initial visual pass on the new hacking UI to make it feel more 3-dimensional holographic. UI also supported the Squadron 42 feature team in setting up a universal 3D marker in the star map system. And continued to create UI assets for the Cinemax team. So obviously the first sentence is our kind of key here. They made an initial pass back in February of this year. So we know that they move pretty quickly into future iterations after they get that first one nailed down. So in February they had that first pass, that first initial visual pass, and they can hone it as they go. And our final update is on the current progress tracker. Never mind, on the Delta tracker, Delta report icon words of 2023-04-19. This still has the UI feature team, except now we have one art dev with 1 task and 2 design devs with 4 tasks. So those 2 people and the Squadron 42 UI feature are nearing completion with what they're doing, and there's an extra dev on the design side, probably to facilitate the designing of expansion to it. I would imagine, if I had to guess. 2 teams were added. The graphics team was added with 1 engineer dev with 3 tasks. And the VFX team to give, obviously, the finishing touches, as VFX does, with 1 engineer. And it says it moved from 3 to 4 artists, but this is the only one we have on here with the VFX team. So 4 art devs with 4 tasks. And so we have currently, if I click on the actual thing. Oh, that got weird. Okay. We have still only the VFX, S42 UI, and GFX teams working on it, and they all, like I said at the beginning, go out to early June. VFX ends before the end of May, and they're part-time. The other 2 teams are full-time. So it looks like they're finishing up hacking, at least for the needs of Squadron. Whether that directly translates to Star Citizen gameplay, good chance, probably not, I'd imagine. But it will be finished feature when that is complete in mid-June. There you go. There's your hacking update for what they got going. It is almost done.
I think there's
and I imagine...
I was just going to say I think that there's a good chance that we will see, like, if they have completed this feature for Squadron 42 around this time or shortly thereafter, in Q2, Q3-ish, that we'll see a sprint added for, like, gameplay, the USPU gameplay feature team and or the mission feature teams, in order to, okay, you have completed this, we're going to port it over to the PU, make sure it works, and then integrate it with missions and gameplay. Because that would be the next logical step.
I would not be shocked
coming from Squadron.
Yeah. I would not be shocked if the current data heist mission is being built to easily jack in hacking.
Yeah.
Like
to
it's being
swap
built
out what
with
we
the
have
current
now
tech.
for. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
That
basically,
makes a lot
they're
of
building
sense.
it with current tech in mind of next tech, so that when they both coalesce, they can switch over to the new one.
Yeah.
Because I'm pretty sure the hacking, not the hacking, the data heist is an underground bunker thing. So
Yeah. That makes a lot of sense.
sees everything. Yep. So that is what we got. Look for it. And I would imagine we will see this pretty darn soon as like a ISC or something. Some kind of sprint.
Yeah.
So
over the summer, I would definitely expect that.
The hacking things. Oh, yeah. So,
especially with
you got a tractor beam.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Well, and they
Sorry,
mentioned you talked about the monthly report for Squadron 42 UI in February. I imagine as this, unless these sprints get extended that you're talking about, I imagine we'll hear about that work, in the May monthly reports for Squadron. So we'll, in a month's time, we'll circle back on this, and when we read those monthly reports and see where it stands. But yeah.
And then you have
But yeah,
your
it's-
long-awaited tractor beams.
Yeah. Well, and it's good though because a lot of people.
Next question.
Nope. Silence you.
What did I break?
No, that was me. Not you.
Oh,
I was
okay.
talking to Jared. Yeah. Silence, Jared. Silencio. Silencio, Bruno.
Oh boy.
I'll pull this up real quick. I said pause. There we go.
Actually, didn't they mention tractor beams in the monthly report as well? Like for tomorrow? Like Monday?
I don't
Monday?
think so. I mean, they've mentioned tractor beams. I was just focusing for this one just vehicle tractor beams because they have been talking a lot about like the handheld as well. But I was just getting the vehicle bits.
But I swear I heard something the past 2 days about tractor beams, specifically vehicle tractor beams, confirmed for 320.
I haven't heard anything
Excuse me,
confirmed
Will.
for 320. Here, I'll pull it up the monthly report and we'll tractor.
Okay, the SRV being completed.
Yeah.
Yeah, support pass began, which includes retrofitting new tractor beams onto existing supported ships. So with
Bingo.
the
I
advent
missed that.
of the SRV, we get vehicle tractor beams on some of the tractor beam enabled ships.
Yep. Hold on, I'm gonna copy and paste
So there
that
you
in there.
Maybe copy paste that. Yeah. Copy
Well,
paste that
I
into
made
the-
these notes before I
didn't
finished
think!
reading the monthly report. You did it.
I'm so like I don't get to do that. Like especially when you like build all the articles that we go through, and I feel bad every time you're like, oh yeah, I wrote the entire show. It's like I need to help more with that. I
It's
didn't
okay.
think I found a nugget, guys. I found a nugget of information.
It's a big nugget, though.
I-
That's a big nugget.
I'm excited. Yeah, that's it's confirming when we get SRV, we get vehicle tractor beams on
Well, and
on at large. Like it's
The crazy thing too is I literally opened up every monthly report going back to April of last year, except for this one. and Control F.
like I just
tractor.
read that there's nothing in there.
Yeah. No, I just read all the other ones, but that one, the most
That's
recent
great.
one, the most important one. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't think the SRV's been confirmed for like 320, but like
Yeah, it's not. I think it's one of those things that it's going to get added. 320 is going to be such a big patch. They have 5 months, before that patch is due for release ish, and that's so much time.
The SRV has not been. The SRV, at least the bars and the progress tracker, haven't been worked on since February.
Just need to. That's odd.
Gray cat tractor tool. Vehicle tractor means it's still being worked on. That's why.
Ah, okay.
So the ship is done, but the functionality is not done, and that gets done late June.
Well, and that might be a bug too, because that would have been. They got done with it real
Wait,
fast.
they literally said, "Hold on." I just read that it's still LOD 0. I'm sorry,
Yeah.
I'm being dumb. Get off my mouse. Because they literally just said, yeah, because the LOD pass on the Argo SRV was completed, and this was the monthly report for April.
This last month, April. Yeah.
And there's got to be a little bit of bar missing there, or a lot bit of bar missing. Cause like,
Well, and if it's vehicle,
if it's
vehicle, if it's the U.S., like one of the vehicle content teams, for maybe it just hasn't been updated, or maybe a sprint is missing. I don't know.
well, it's art ship is the
Yeah.
where the thing is. Interesting. It looks
but yeah,
sus, is
so
all I'm saying.
it does. It doesn't make sense because it's been mentioned like every month since then. I did a scanner anomaly on tractor beams back in April, like at the very beginning of the podcast, April of last year. And so finally doing a committed SITREP to it. Got a good amount of information, obviously, especially if you've been paying attention. You know, we got a lot of information and a lot going on with the handheld tractor beams. So we're not going to talk about that. We're just going to talk about the vehicle tractor beams. But here's the scanner anomaly. It's on my YouTube. The link is going to be in the show notes for this video if you're watching it right now, or watching it after the fact on YouTube. But you'll be able to click on the show notes and easily navigate to where this scanner anomaly is within the show notes. But anyway, so chronological order since April of last year, the work that has been done. So this is what the deliverable looks like for vehicle tractor beams right now. Obviously, there is a big old gap going all the way back to Q4 2021. And this is, yeah. So it goes all the way back to here when they did that little sprint this is when they were working on the actual, I forget the name of it, but the one that's on the 315P. Like this is that tractor beam attachment that's on the 315P. It was actually in a sneak peek in the weekly newsletter, and that's when this occurred. But no work has gone on until the beginning of December 2022. And now we see more work going on. So you have EU, PU, gameplay feature team, narrative, and VFX. And so in June of 2022, we can see, so they didn't add any sprints back then. There isn't anything mentioned in these periods. But in, let's see, the gameplay feature team in the monthly report for June 2022 says, last month, gameplay features began working on the next steps for the salvage profession, which involved evaluating the possibilities for the munching mechanic, ship tractor beams, and the salvage grinder. So this is just more of a brainstorming session that they had in relation to these things, because they talk about it for the salvage profession. The one thing that is not widely known is that the Reclaimer does have tractor beams on board. You not only have a bunch of big old guns, but the Reclaimer has tractor beams. The Reclaimer has drones, which you use in order to move the salvage towards your hull scraping lasers, towards your big munching claw thing, all that functionality. And then what happened is the vehicle tractor beam was added to the progress tracker in July 6th of 2022, and everybody's like, oh, sweet, we're getting those. But when they added it, it's because they were adding the downstream teams, the upstream teams work for Q4. And so that is what we see here with vehicle tractor beams with the EU-PU gameplay feature team and the weapon contents team schedule. So they must have removed the weapon contents team portion of it at some point. And then, see, why does it do this every time? I had it lined up perfectly with where the thing was that I wanted. So,
that's browser based, like.
Yeah. For the Shiny Tracker Delta report for that roadmap update, July 6th, you can see that the weapon content team, it just shows that they added the work that was previously not added. That's what it was. But it shows the EU-PU gameplay feature team beginning work at the beginning of December with one engineer dev getting to work on that. We'll do the same thing again. And then for the September 14th progress tracker or Delta report for Shiny Tracker, when they added the Q1, they added all the way out to June, Q2, for the upstream teams. And so they extended the sprint for the EU gameplay feature team from the end of Q1 all the way out to the end of Q2. And updated those tasks. And then for the November 9th Delta report, you can see that they updated that sprint. So they didn't change the length, but instead of just having what had been one engineering dev, they added a second engineering dev and a design dev to the gameplay feature team sprint for vehicle tractor beams over that same period of time with a whole bunch of days' work. And then right here in the monthly report for November, December 2022, they talk about the work that just was scheduled and started in December for a gameplay feature for the game features gameplay. Additionally, groundwork began for vehicle tractor beams. The next steps will be creating the tractor beam UI and expanding the feature to support its proper functionalities. And then in the monthly report for January, gameplay features again says the EU team continued work on the tractor beam, this time focusing on escaping mechanics. They're talking about this because they're talking about vehicle tractor beams and being able to escape from the tractor beam. So this time focusing on escaping mechanics such as how shields affect the required strength of a tractor beam to secure a ship. A prototype was built to test the potential and help decide whether average shield strength or per shield face determines the required strength. So, they want to know if your shields are weaker on the right-hand side, and that is where you are attaching with your vehicle tractor beam, is that what's going to determine if you can hold them in place or not? Or is it going to be the overall shield strength? Additionally, the team began work on detaching and attaching items with the tractor beam, which we know about, which is an expansion of the attaching to cargo grid feature. And this was the, off the topic of vehicle tractor beams, but this is that sort of breakthrough that they talked about. They realized that because they were able to use the tech associated with attaching things, attaching and detaching from the cargo grid, essentially with 1SCU containers, this work actually was, didn't take nearly as long, and so they were able to get this part of the feature done a lot more quickly. And that's why we're seeing in 3.19 they talked about how they're able to add it to 3.19, before the rest of the gameplay to go with it, just because that part got done a lot faster than they had planned. So for the February 22nd roadmap update that we got, the vehicle tractor beams sprint deliverable, they added additional work from the EUPU gameplay feature team, adding more tasks, or apparently they added more days of work, and looks like they spread those tasks across those days in order to give the engineers more time. And then for we're in the right place. Look at that. For the March 8th Delta report, narrative was assigned, revealing 9 days of work, and we can see that sprint right here of them working on that. And then for March 22nd, we can see that the VFX team was assigned, revealing 35 days of work with one art dev. And the good thing about this is, and so they added this ex post facto, because it's 35 days of work. They added it on March 22nd, but the work had already essentially occurred because we got this update right here, and it showed all of the Q1 work that had already been done. And VFX, Northern Trooper 07, buddy, good to see you. Os Veteran, thanks for joining us. I appreciate it. But yeah, the good thing about that is the VFX is a downstream team. And so to me that suggests that they are polishing the visuals associated with vehicle tractor beams, or working along on that part of the feature with those teams. So I'm hopeful that this will be something that we see in Q3, along with the expansion to the cargo factor, as well as seeing vehicle tractor beams on multiple ships, not just the SRV. So we'll keep our fingers crossed and keep an eye on this. But I thought it was a good time to get an update on that. The last update that we had, that we just talked about, that Nazeris found, thank you so much, is from the April 2023 monthly report, which Naz and I will be going over the combined reports on Monday evening. But it says the level of detail pass on, I wonder if that means all the levels of detail. If they say the LOD pass, not LOD 0 or whatever.
Level of detail pass is making the LODs. So they bring it up to LOD 0, and then they work on the other LODs for it.
So do you think that means that they completed, because they say that the LOD pass on the Argo SRV was completed, do you think that means they completed all the levels of detail?
The art for it? Yes.
Yeah?
I think that means it's LOD complete. So it should be art complete.
Cool.
But that's why, like, the SRV might be done art-wise, but the tech and feature of the tractor beams is still being worked on.
Yeah, definitely. Relating to this, a support pass for tractor beams began, which includes retrofitting the new vehicle tractor beam onto existing supported ships. So we'll see.
I hope this gets added to the Caterpillar.
Yeah. I mean, there's a long list of ships, and I talked about all those ships in the video that I did last April. Obviously, it's last April. Naz and I have learned a lot as we have grown as content creators. So, but the show notes are in there, all the links as well. But it was fun.
Yeah. But like the Caterpillar really would benefit from having its own tractor beam to be able to throw stuff into the ship.
So not only
it'd be a good pirate ship.
Oh yeah. Imagine being able to, I mean, if you can use vehicle tractor beams to yoink off guns and stuff from the exterior, and you've got people on board, throwing crates out of a hatch out into space, and the people on the ship, the vehicle tractor beam are yoinking them onto the Caterpillar. That'd be pretty great.
That'd be a pretty good strike crew if you got a couple fighters take down a Herc, and you just kind of loiter around Bezdek and Lanthan. And then once the fighters find a target, then they call in the Caterpillar to start coming to them. So they take down the Herc, spews all the boxes, you start picking them up with tractor beams.
Yeah, and you get a Caterpillar with a green skin, and you get to call it the Loot Goblin, because that's essentially what it becomes. And so what I did, if you haven't watched SCL yesterday, I highly encourage it. Lots of really good information. Really good to hear from those two devs. Those are the guys who are building all the non-combat features in the game right now. The things that we're going to see in the PU before the updates to the combat features come over from the Squadron side. So good idea to keep an eye on them and listen to what they have to say. But there was a bunch of talk with, a good amount of talk in the Q&A about vehicle tractor beams. So what I did is I downloaded the whole SCL from yesterday, and I clipped out all the bits asking questions about vehicle tractor beams, and I made it into one video, and I uploaded it to my YouTube. It's unlisted, but it's linked in the show notes for you to watch later. But I'm going to go ahead and open this up and let it play. It's about 6 minutes long. There's some good answers in here, so stick around to hang out for this. I'm going to mute myself because I have to go pee really bad. So,
next question is from Luxor, Caterpillar owner. How will hull-mounted tractor beams, like on the Caterpillar, be able to move cargo inside the ship, considering the tractor beam is located outside of the ship and away from the cargo hold?
Yeah, we are aware of those. So we are working on also the vehicle side of the tractor beams, and yeah, those need to be updated. Simple as that.
When you say updated, you mean the tractor beam locations moved?
So we talked to the vehicle team about that, and they had to do, especially for the older ships, they need to look into the tractor beam setup more thoroughly than just for the newer ships. So yes, there might be some updates on the actual item position for those to work actually properly with the system.
Right, because the tractor beams at present are very line of sight, so you wouldn't want, it'd be weird if the beam like curved and turned and...
Yeah, no.
That would be weird, yeah.
Yes.
It's the standard thing we do with all our ships. We release them, and then the systems come online, and we have to rethink a few things. If people remember, the Prospector used to have this laser that was pointing downwards.
Right.
Yeah, we just had to adjust based on the system, and eventually it all works out.
Things are built with the best information we have at the time, and
exactly.
So, Sorial says, will the tractor beams be a single focused beam at ship level, or will it be a variable cone with lowering power the wider we go? This person clearly wants to like cast a net over an area to see if they can pull in more things at once.
So for now it is a single target beam, and the reasons are more complex as well, because we are facing some like if we would allow the ownership of multiple items, that will get really complicated with physics and synchronizing those physics. So we decided for now that we will just go for one target per beam. But yeah, on the other side, we were talking about like, okay, how can we utilize the technology that we have with the tractor beam to affect multiple objects? So they were like, I think Dan brought it up at some point, these distortion fields or something like that, right?
Jefferson, okay.
Sorry, not much to say about that right now. It's still too early. Again, this is stuff where it's at this point it's in, I would call it ideation. It hasn't even been prototyped yet.
Right.
So confirming anything at this point would be a bit premature. So let's see where we get to. We'll update as soon as we have more.
Triton says, will there be weight and volume restrictions on tractor beams, and how will size and specialization of the tractor beam affect them?
Yes, there will be limits on the mass a tractor beam can carry, that is defined by the tractor beam size as well as the volume. And we were even considering like having exclusive tractor beams for that they are specialized in handling cargo, and others are specialized in handling basically the detaching mode. So there are no clear decisions yet on how these exclusive tractor beams might look like, or if we even go down that road. But the definite plan is, yes, there will be hard limits on the mass the tractor beam can carry and the volume. The multi-tool right now is just like, we wanted to allow you to play with this feature, right? And that meant we basically make it so overpowered that it's really unrealistic, right? Like a tiny gun like carrying several tons of weight is just like, yeah, it's fun, but not realistic.
Okay.
Damn it, sorry. I was still muted. That last question, I think, is a really good one in terms of managing expectations and getting the intent of the guys who are building and designing the gameplay for these features. Because a lot of people are like, oh, it's sci-fi, you don't need suspension of disbelief, it's all just space magic, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, no, they wanted to have some measure of believability. It's the whole, you want to take it out to realism and bring it back to fun. Okay, well, it's fun to use tractor beams. but it's less fun to just have one tractor beam that does all the things instead of having, the decision making of having the right tool for the job. And so that's the difference in that, we're not going to have one tractor beam to rule them all. You have, at least two sizes of hand usable tractor beams, potentially more based off the things they've said. But also we know that there are size 1, 2, and 3 vehicle tractor beams, at a minimum, just from what's been talked about so far with ships like the Argo SRV, the 315, all of that. So, it's a good thing that, having tractor beams makes the game fun. We don't have to do things the hard way.
Sorry.
We don't have to do things the hard way for moving cargo or moving items. That's why we have tractor beams. But it's a little bit more realism by having different sized tractor beams to handle different sized items. Go ahead. What were you going to say?
And there's an old adage about constraints making art better. It's the same for games. Like, if you had a game where you could literally do anything you wanted. A lot of people already have this problem in Minecraft. If you could literally do anything you wanted, you wouldn't know where to start. There would be no drive to do anything because you could do everything.
Mm-hmm.
So when you start constraining it, you start making a game.
Yeah. You're making a game and
the perfect mirror of reality, but like you're in space now, or you have to make a factory, or you have to nurture a city, or shoot the bad guys without murdering people. So constraints can make things better. I'll do it that way.
Yeah. And they create gameplay because planning is a part of gameplay. And having limitations, that encourage you to plan is a part of gameplay. There are so many games where, that is a thing right now where, if you don't plan accordingly, you are not going to be equipped for a situation and you're not going to be successful. Okay, well, that's a normal part of gaming. This is nothing new, and this is just CIG saying we have things that scale and the tools to do those things are going to scale with them, and that's all it is.
I want an Idris spy-mounted tractor beam now instead of a railgun.
That's very Star Wars. I'm just saying, I would not be surprised if that became a thing. Capital class tractor beams with super long range. You can't grab all the fighters who are flying around and trying to take out your turrets, but you can grab that one because he's the really annoying one.
But if you have like a really good tractor beam operator, he could this one and he shoots it, this one and he shoots it. Like he keeps pulling them into range of the turrets.
I would not be opposed
really
to that
cool,
kind of gameplay if there were limitations to it, and it's just. If you are a fighter and you get lazy, you're gonna get yoinked.
Yeah.
Gotta keep him on their toes.
McGonagall says, will the Argo SRV tractor beam be capable of moving asteroids? For multiplayer mining ops, can we tug asteroids together for our party members in the Prospector/Mole?
So right now, how we originally designed mining, we just made all of our harvestables, which minables are part of, we made them static, and it was the simple thing to do back in those days. And I think now we're starting to get to the point where with tractor beam and all these features, there is a point in making it dynamic. So until now, and even right now, if you just crash into a fresh mineable with your ship, doesn't matter if you crash a Bengal carrier, that rock is not moving. But at this point, we can start looking into having them movable, and there's no reason if you have a tractor beam strong enough to move a ship of that mass, of the same mass as the rock, there's no reason it couldn't move that rock. we've already saw some things happening when lootable boxes were
Right.
were tractor beamable. So we know there's some small problems there that we still need to overcome, but it is doable. So we're probably going to be heading in that direction.
I feel like, if I'm allowed to speak for you, I've known you and Torsten long enough to know that if there's a way to make towing asteroids around possible and relatively safe and not balance breaking, stuff like this, we'll probably pursue it.
Wait until they tow them at really ludicrous speeds.
Prepare ship for light speed.
No, light speed is too slow.
Light speed too slow?
Yes, we're gonna have to go right to ludicrous speed.
And they crash them into stations. Just wait for that. That is the first thing everyone will do.
To see whether you can bring it with you into quantum, let it go. There's. I don't think it's a secret to say we want it. We want to see what happens, but game development.
We'll at least try it.
Okay.
Game development.
Were you?
Oh,
I'm guessing you'd had the sound off.
No, I didn't have the sound off. I had the sound on.
Did you hear the? Did you
Yeah,
see that
no, I
last
heard
little bit? I'm pretty
Gameplay.
proud of myself. Not gonna lie. But yeah,
No, light speed's too
light speed's too slow.
slow.
Ludicrous speed.